ready?
I am, thank you.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and call to order this meeting of the Design Review Board for the City of Litchfield Park. Would the room please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance?
There is no flag today.
Chair, give me one moment.
Okay. We lost the flash.
One time we just like face the direction of the city hall or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Like we can have this like.
Yeah.
Or the one in the center down here.
There you go.
Get everything except the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we start before we start our action items, we have a call to the community for anyone who would wish to address our board on anything that's not on our agenda this evening. Is there any request to speak on anything that we're not addressing on our agenda?
Chair, I've not received any requests to speak this evening.
Okay. So we'll move on. The first item of business. My goodness. Approval of the minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
I have one notation of correction, and when I was looking at it, that it said on the, by the signature one, it's the Board of Adjustment, it's the Design Review Board. That's it. There was a motion and a second, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Next up is approval of a new RV garage. It is a, 520 square foot addition at, I don't have it on the agenda. Oh, is it, 407 East Fairway? Is it the one?
250 Cloverfield.
Oh, 250 Clover. Okay.
Chair, the current agenda on your laptop should still be the screen available too.
Okay. This doesn't have that.
It might be one of, yeah, here. Thank you. Randy Approach, your planning director. The first item is 5B. This is a request to build an RV garage and connecting trellis at 250 North Cloverfield Terrace. Dan is in the second row. It's a bit of a guess who this evening for all of our applicants. The zoning is single family residential, is R18. It's in a planned development known as the Village. Cloverfield is Terrace is as you round your way around Village Parkway. It's in the gated subdivision. This should look familiar to you. It came back in 2018 as a custom home, and this is a 464 square foot RV garage that is being added onto the home. This was always his planned phase 2, let's call it, and we are before you this evening to present that case. As far as depictions go, the RV garage is on the, let's call it the north side of the property, tucked in adjacent to the last remaining lot, which is under construction or finished now? Is it? It's still under construction. Still under construction, thank you. This is located within the interior setback. It does meet all setbacks. The village has some pretty generous, I'd say, setbacks as far as the amount of land that you can use within your lot. Certainly, Dan has utilized that space from above. You'll see that that garage is tucked almost to the rear of the home and is in line with the rear plane, I'd say. Between the garage and the home itself is a connecting terrace. You'll note on this project and one coming up later tonight, a very similar situation. We are doing some creative solutions between us and our building department in order to facilitate this request. I can't show you street view as it is a gated community, but this is what it looks like from the side of the house. The proposed addition will match in all colors, materials, roofing style, roofing pitch, shingles, and that's a look from above as the aerial. It's a black and white rendition, but you can see the roof lines are very similar, certainly not above what the main house has and fits as far as context and the scale. Now, as far as our analysis goes, this proposed addition, as far as the RV garage, meets all the required setbacks and lot coverage, which are outlined in the village plan development plan. That's not my words, it's how it's stated. The proposal does meet all the intents of section 39 of the zoning code. That's our design review section. We have not received any public comments on this proposal. As far as the recommendation, it'd be to move to approve this proposed addition. Case number is PZ 2527, located at 250 North Cloverfield Terrace, and is subject to the exhibits provided in your packet by the applicant and stipulations 1 through 3. Number 1, I'll read all 3 for you, is a building permit issued by the city will be required for any constructions to occur. We always include that, and it is always expected and certainly gone through the process before. 2 and 3 are our unique qualifiers in order to do this successfully, and you'll see this again in a later presentation. The southeast wall of the RV garage shall be constructed as a 1-hour firewall and be set back a minimum of 5 feet from the main home. When you are detached, it's a minimum of 10 feet away. When you are attached, there are different regulations. Because this is somewhat both, as it will be connected to the main home, it becomes a fire concern. So number 3 ties into that as well, as far as the trellis shall be constructed of a non-combustible materials. We worked with our building official in order, and our applicant this evening, to find a solution to make this an attached structure, as well as maintain that breezeway and that separation that he was looking for. And the 1-hour firewall solves both those issues, as well as the non-combustible materials. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions on this first item, 5B.
So the original side yard setback is it 5 feet?
So in the village, it is 10 feet, Chair.
Feet. And this is situated closer than that? No.
No, it is not.
Okay. And then I had a question for the applicant. It was, what is the height of the garage door?
Height would be,
Dan, if you could, for the record, there's a microphone and a lectern over there.
yeah, it would be about, minus 10 feet tall for the garage door. It's a 12-foot plate, and then the width of the garage door is gonna be 11 feet.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
Do any of the members have a question for the staff or applicant? I appreciate it's tucked back in the back. And that it's not as high as the other RV garages I've seen around town. Is there any discussion or a motion?
Make them,
I move that we approve with the 3 stipulations as stated.
Motion?
I'll second.
Second. Any further discussion? None, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Bob says aye.
Thanks. Okay, thank you, the motion carries. Next up is new facade in addition at 204 West Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. Item 5C is, as stated, a new facade in addition at the address of 204 West Campbell Avenue. The applicant is David Drew. David, can someone? Thank you. Hi, David. This is a facade update to the garage and a small addition to the home. The zoning is R115. This request would essentially redo the roof line in the garage portion of the home, which is the furthest closest to the street, you could say. And it would increase the fenestration through additional windows at an angle, quite frankly. The other part of this request is an 88 square foot addition, not a very large one by any means. It is not visible from the street. It's almost interior to the lot itself and to the home itself. And the house would be re-roofed. This is the current depiction of the home. As mentioned, the garage is a side entry. It is the closest thing you can see to you to the street. It is entered, you can see the driveway there on the right side of the image or the east side of the lot. The new roof line you'll see is angled here and includes additional windows. And then from the side entry, you're looking west, you'd see this new portion, which is that 88 square foot addition. These are the colors and materials being done. It is a modern reinterpretation we've seen a lot for these houses, going to the standing seam metal roof lines and high contrast colors as well. Now, as far as our analysis goes, the proposed improvements are harmonious with the existing architecture. We certainly always appreciate all of our residents that continue to make investments within their homes. It meets the intents of Section 39 of the zoning code, and we've not received any public comments on this proposal this evening. So we would move to approve the case PZ 2529 at 204 West Campbell, subject to the exhibits provided by the application. And two stipulations: one, a building permit issued by the city was required before any construction. Two, provide floodwater retention for pre versus post the 100-year 6-hour storm event with the building permit. Essentially, adding roofed areas creates a concern of additional rain that must go somewhere. So this is that corresponding stipulation. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And the applicant is here this evening as well.
Would you like to state your name for the record and take questions?
David Drew.
Okay. I just thought it looks much better. I love the angle.
Thank you. I think so
Gives
too.
it some distinction. Did notice that you had the arrow of slope on one of the drawings was pointing the wrong way. Like usually the arrow points to the way the water would flow instead of up. I got a little confused when I was trying to read the plan versus the elevation.
Sure.
Any other questions for staff or the applicant?
The addition, can you explain what the addition is? Is it just bumping the wall out or?
Yeah, actually, there's a kind of an atrium there already. I don't believe the outer wall is actually structural, so we're gonna have to take that down. And then it'll be an enclosed bathroom area. So.
It's pretty much already under roof.
It's not really, I
Not
mean,
really,
it's sort of
but-
like cut out like an atrium, like just sort of open air, but yeah, I mean, it's got a decking and stuff there.
I guess I would just like to say thank you for maintaining the garage doors not facing the street. I think that's like something that's really nice about a lot of the old houses here and.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
So. Don't have any questions for us.
I'd like to second that the aesthetics of the new roof line is nice.
Yeah, actually, we went with that because it's really hard to get insurance for flat roofs. So just a heads up on that.
Any other questions? Bob?
No, I happen to have met the owners out there when I went and looked at the property, and I've been watching since they moved in over a couple of years ago. And I agree that it's going to be a good use and benefit cleaning up that little area anyway. So no questions. I think it's a good use, and I'd be glad to make the motion to approve.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, since I'm on a mobile phone here in Wisconsin, so the best I can do is I will let Randy put in the wording, the verbiage we need to make it legal. But as it's been presented, I agree that we should move forward.
that works for me, Chair.
That's fine. Okay, so we have a motion to approve with the stipulations 1 and 2 as per city staff. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 I,
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is a discussion of possible action to approve a new casita and RV garage located at 520 East Campina Drive.
Thank you, Chair. And for those in the audience, this meeting is going to be an hour and a half at least. So if you have dinner plans, feel free to leave after your items are presented. I'm not offended. Item 5D is a new casita and RV garage. The applicant is Dan Muscat. Dan is here. Hi, Dan. Laura and Shannon are here too. Oh, hello, hello, hello. The request is to build an addition and RV garage within an existing home. This is going to sound very familiar to our first presentation. The zoning is R1. This request would add a 1,045 square foot addition onto the house with connecting outdoor terrace and a 723 square foot RV garage and a 625 square foot casita, which sounds like a lot, but this is a very big lot. It's well stated. It's not a little, it is a lot. The current depiction is shown here. This backs up to Camelback to the north. It is at the northernmost edge of let's call it the walls, as most people know it as. The addition is going to be shown on your next slide, and it'll be west of the primary residence. You'll see it's utilizing the same architecture, roof lines. We especially appreciate the little details, but the right touches as far as matching what was and what is being proposed for you this evening across both ends of this proposal. Again, as shown, the current house is non-highlighted, let's call it, over here on the east end. The existing driveway and existing entry is all ready to go as far as plug and play solution here. You'll note a similar sort of terrace or trellis, depending on which acronym or synonym you'd prefer, that is wrapping around part of that addition here and sort of bisects the addition to the home with the RV and casita here to the west. And you'll notice front and rear porches, patios, areas for outdoor enjoying. Now, as far as our analysis, this does meet all the required setbacks and lot coverage. It took me a while to add all square footages up, but they are still nowhere close. Again, just due to the size of the lot. It does meet our intentions of section 39, which is the design review section. We have not received any public comments on this proposal. You'll notice similar stipulations as the first case. This is PZ 2528, located at 520 East Campina Drive. It's subject to the exhibits provided within your packet by the applicant in stipulations 1 through 4. I will read. The building permit issued by the city is required before any construction is to occur. Eastern wall of the RV garage shall be constructed as a 1-hour firewall and be set back a minimum of 5 feet from the main house. Again, that is that trellis feature that separates the addition with this RV and casita portion. The terrace is, in this case, the terrace. The first one was trellis. The terrace will be constructed of non-combustible materials. Lastly, provide floodwater retention for pre versus post for the 100-year 6-hour storm event with the building permit, as this is a substantial amount of additional roof that will need to be allocated for floodwater. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and Dan is here as well.
Any questions? This one I don't like as much as the first one because it stands out and I prefer them tucked away, and at least where maybe part of the main house is blocking part of it, or at least part of it's housing. A question: what is the height of the garage door?
The garage door is 14'3".
Okay, so that's
Still
another one.
provides for a pass the RV.
It's just something I'm not appreciating, that it kind of stands up so tall compared to the remainder of the residences, and there's nothing to kind of offset it at all, just right there.
And I think even, it's hard to tell because I don't think, was there an elevation that showed us the like existing height compared to the like proposed height?
There's
Right, but that's like a perspective, so
Yeah,
it's hard to
perspective.
like, hard to
They are
tell.
the same, the apex to the addition, I'm sorry, the casita and the main house.
the top of the ridge of the
Correct.
casita and the house, but the,
Correct.
but the RV garage.
RV
is-
garages go high, it's
Yeah.
20 feet total,
It's how much?
20 feet,
Okay.
I believe the limit is 25.
And, I'm sorry,
The limit on the, is 25, I believe.
That's correct,
Yeah,
yes.
that's the height restriction.
what is the primary residence peak? Do you have any idea, like the existing?
I believe it's. I wanna say it's like 17 or 18 feet. I'm not exactly sure, I have to get out the plans.
Bob, do you have any comments, questions?
No, you, have covered it very well.
I mean, I think I would have no problem with it, if, except for the size of the RV garage. I think everything else would be fine. It just looks out of place. And it looks like a entirely different animal. It doesn't really belong to the house. Yeah, go ahead and give me.
Something that we did have planned that doesn't show there is I had a concern about the aesthetic as well. And because of the roof line being so high on the RV garage, one of the things that I did tell them that I wanted to add on that will also be added on to the house is what they call like a brow or the, what is that? The awning. There's gonna be like an awning over the garage door that we're also going to be doing onto the windows on the existing property that face out. So that'll create sort of a brow and break up what might look like just a straight wall going forward, specifically for aesthetics. So it'll almost give the illusion that it's lower because the awning is sort of slanted down. We didn't put it on here for the aesthetic purpose, just to see the scale.
I mean, I think that would help, but,
I guess I'm
this is the
just wondering if the scale of it can be reduced at all. You know, I think we just saw an RV garage that was, didn't you say it was a 10-foot?
But,
Yeah, and it kind of matched much more like with the scale of the property, existing property.
Problem is not many RVs are 10 feet tall. Yeah, it's more of like just a big garage versus the garage at the house RV.
Mhm.
So that's I think they make them shorter if you get a lower class, but I mean, that's.
So I guess the
We have
question
it
is,
at the lowest point that you can fit an RV at.
okay,
I mean, this is like one of those bus type. The big boy RVs. It's where, I mean, it was never allowed before. The city, I'm not sure where.
If we make the garage door more aesthetically pleasing, could that solve that issue?
And that all helps, yeah, it helps.
it's just, I mean, it's just unfortunate when the RV garage is the biggest
The
element
first
in the
thing you
massing
see,
because it's the first thing
only
that everybody
you're gonna
looks.
see.
So it makes it look a lot more kind of like almost commercial to me,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that's unfortunate. So,
And it is that height as we were planning for the office, the office area as well. So if we did lower that, that would kind of eliminate the space. For the office, we'd have to rework that whole thing to see the new office downstairs, it would eliminate some of the.
yeah. I guess were there any rear elevator? I don't know, I guess I'm kind of also wondering, because isn't there kind of a downward slope like from Camelback? I'm wondering what this would look like from the back as well.
Board Member Dudley, yes, there is. You'll note when you drive up and down Camelback, there's a few two-story houses actually that are a better representation of that sort of massing that you're speaking of. I don't know that this is necessarily that close to Camelback Road to get a true sense of scale as it would be from Campina.
Okay.
Yeah, we have two very tall houses on each side of the road.
Yeah, there's, to start.
Chair, the only thing I would add to this conversation is if there is a request to include the brow element within that, I'd ask that we do a modified motion to include that sort of element, because I would not want you to approve something, building plans come in that look different and have them go through the same process that they're going through tonight.
I mean, that's something I would feel fine with having staff approve. But yeah, I think that would help at least lower your eye, the visual, but right now, you're just, wow, it's big, you know,
Could, and you have the architectural background, obviously, I don't, but I'm gonna call it a pergola covering that's between the
yeah,
addition. Could that be put at an angle?
I don't think that'll help. It's, because it's sandwiched in between, it's not gonna be, you won't really see that from the street level.
Yeah, there'll be a gate there too.
Yeah. It won't be noticed, and I don't think it would help the design of it. But yeah, if you did somewhat of an awning over but I don't know if that, see that, then that, to make it effective, it's gonna, reduce your
Clearance.
clearance. Otherwise, it's gonna be, I think it will still be out of scale.
Yeah, it does, I was just gonna say, sometimes if they're not placed like at the right proportion, then it
Yeah.
kind of actually makes, it's like worse almost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
then you're kind of staring at the brow being.
Are there not properties with, standard RV clearance like this one?
There's a couple, mostly they're attached to larger homes that kind of further tucked in or built in around, yeah. It is just that this one just happens to
Yes.
stick out a lot.
Yeah, you have a very nice sort of like, I want to say it's probably seventies, is it a seventies house?
Yes.
So it's, yeah, like, so the massing is very, very much in accordance with what I would expect of that era, but, and then if you like add this RV, it just, it doesn't look like it was intentional. The original intention, I guess, of the design. So I, like, of course, I'm not suggesting you do this, but I feel like what would need to happen is if the main residence or the massing was taller, then it would not, and I think that's what you're saying, is like the
Yeah.
places where it occurs within Litchfield Park, that's the case where like the massing is of the main residence is taller.
And I know within like the main, within the original part of Litchfield, there are a couple, and I think a couple kind of got snuck in without permits and stuff like that. And then a couple are, if you don't notice them, then that's successful, but.
And Chair, we're seeing more of these inquiries as a reactionary measure to the increased restrictions and code cases
Yeah,
against RVs being stored around. And as the city does not have any RV storage lots within the walls or within our bounds, this has been a popular option.
land is getting more valuable, so the storage things get pushed further out.
So there is, to be clear, there is, I mean, this meets the requirements, the zoning requirements.
Yeah, Chair, Board Member Dudley, I wish I could prescribe more within the code. I don't have more prescription, I need a prescription refill. I'll call Walgreens and we can get that done. I would recommend that any of you could reach out to me at any point. We can look at text amendments, further refinements of the code through the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council to see if there's appetite for that.
It's been something I've been asking for like 20 years, so I haven't seen it.
I can only speak for the last 11 months. Can't help
It's
it.
also set back quite far, so if you notice the picture with the cars and the gate there, so it's set back quite a bit from the house itself.
So in the site plan,
I do.
it's about the width of the existing garage is
Yeah.
how far back it's,
Yeah.
So we're at 35, so that, and not even to that, it's just a setback. So the
Another-
house is about,
yeah, probably another 25 feet.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
because you're still going aside into the existing garage.
They try to tuck it back as
I
much as they
think-
could, but there's just not much there.
Yeah.
I think
think
to
it probably-
accommodate, I would be interested in looking at an upgraded door, garage door, and then also some sort of trim at the top, just to kind of bring the visual.
We were gonna match the existing, indent trim
The
on the
cap.
house.
Yeah.
So
But you're talking about like a little awning.
Yeah, little awning or something a little more substantial.
Yeah. But that's good to know, because I guess I noticed that too, the existing house has that little cap.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
like a,
Yeah,
like a shadow line.
that'll help, but I think
Yeah.
like, especially if you're doing trim colors, I think adding that trim color just right above the roof with some sort of a
like a header brow type
header
thing.
brow, something,
Okay,
something that doesn't, drop down and,
Yeah.
and decrease your clearance if that's the objective. If there's any way you can bring the garage door down, if you can find, if this is not an existing RV that you're trying to accommodate,
Correct.
it is, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
So, I mean, there are RVs that are a little shorter that would be accommodated, with a 12-foot door instead of 14.
there, there are ones that go.
They're gonna make that section wall look bigger too. You sure crank the door down.
Oh, because you have a two-story, you have
Yeah.
a story inside there.
I think, so your assumption was like. it would
Yeah,
all-
like, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking taking everything, but then you have a two-story
Yes,
as
correct.
part of the
Yeah,
plan.
it's a loft and a bathroom in the back.
In the back, okay. Oh, so it's actually, it's deep enough
Yeah.
to like accommodate the full length of it, and then
28
there's
foot,
something above.
RV and an 8-foot, space for a
Okay.
small office here.
So, but I mean, the office area then, like, it's not fully above the RV? Right? It's like a wall.
It's like, yeah, so it's a room in the very, it's 37 feet long, so the back about 10 feet or so or less is, it's a spiral staircase. You walk in downstairs, it's a bathroom, spiral staircase that goes up to a optical study.
Resident.
I see.
And our intention was originally to use it as a garage, not necessarily for an RV, but we thought, oh, if we ever have to resell it, we have to be RV compatible, so that's. I don't know, did it that way.
Cool. See, that's what,
Certainly desirable.
that's a hard thing to
Yeah.
do. I think also you could accommodate the two-story by stepping it up in the back. It, like, so it would be like shorter in the front and then bop up in the back,
Which would, yeah. that
which would break up that surface and the massing of it too. And that would still allow for, some of the smaller RVs, especially like some of the Sprinters and stuff like that don't work in regular.
Is there, so there's no slope there anyway, or you, well, I mean, the lot, I'm talking about the lot, because I'm actually wondering if like.
Actually, made for swell, so we're gonna have to get a drainage and a grading drainage. It's because it's actually, the street is a little bit higher than the lawn itself. So it's kind of full, so
I guess-
it need to be a new swell area.
Okay, the reason I was asking is I'm wondering if, like, as this RV garage moves towards the back, if it will be sloping down anyway, so are you like filling up, or is it's level?
We'll have to be graded with the house. We'll be same grade with the house. So it will need to be structural build in, some of that area.
Okay. Because I mean, not if, I mean, you could maybe, if you are okay with stairs or something, you could maybe accommodate, like, you could bring the whole thing down, but then have 2 levels behind, if that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you're like to use the.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I was thinking. The front part could be a little lower, and then as you need the two-story, it could go up higher.
Yeah.
Accommodate the loft and stuff,
So-
but maybe in the front is a little lower.
Like the RV, comes in here and parks or whatever, but then you
Mhm.
like have, if you had a couple steps or whatever, and you have a floor below and a loft up here. So it's kind of like almost,
Same.
I don't know, it's probably more complicated and you maybe just want to do flat, but it would help
Do
bring
we
the,
think that we could present the one with the awning, because we're talking about a 2-foot difference? Really, so. In my sketch that I drew, it looks great with little awnings, because I was doing it over the windows as well, because I wanted something else, the house seems really flat. So with that awning on the top of the door and also the windows in the front, it really does break up that sight line quite a bit. So could we present that as an option instead of making a major changes to the plan?
Or it is up to you. If you wanted this board to essentially table the item, reevaluate or redraw, and we can come back before the board on your behalf in 4 weeks. Or as suggested to the chair, if this is something that we can stipulate, that would be an option to you as well, as so long as you were in agreement with the modification.
I don't know, I guess, do you want to table, I mean, I guess I would be inclined to table it maybe and let you guys come back with the brow option.
That's 4 weeks.
It's the first Thursday of June.
I mean, I would prefer to make it a stipulation so I didn't have to wait until 4 weeks to start, because we're having some other time.
And then just let the city approve.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
My stipulations would be an upgraded door, possibly with some windows. And then, some sort of brow
Brow.
treatment or awning as, that would, if you're planning on doing it on those other windows, then yeah, it could be, similar, if not exactly the
Yeah,
same.
yeah, I would want to be the same style, so that looks consistent.
It's just hard to, we want to see it, and then I would trust the staff to judge whether it was, aesthetically, if it made it better, or made it worse, so.
Just judging from people's faces, eyebrows usually look better on people's faces, so I think eyebrows here would be a good idea as well. So Chair, I will restate for you, just to make sure that we have a motion that then can see if there is a second and a vote on that matter. So for PZ 2528 at 520 Campina Drives, again, subject to the exhibits provided by the applicant, and modified stipulations 1 through 5, 1 through 4, as previously stated, with a 5th stipulation to state as follows, and I apologize for those that have to do the minutes after this meeting is over. The garage door to include clear story windows at the top panel, as well as a header brow architectural element above the garage door. Have I stated it correctly?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So again, that is, Chair, that is your motion, and then we'll see how that proceeds.
I would second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Bob? Did we lose him?
That's about it.
Did we lose Bob?
Board Member Derry, it is *6 on your phone if you're looking for that
Bob.
code. Thank you.
Bob says aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll leave it to staff to decide. If for some reason he doesn't think it looks good, then you'll just have to come back to us.
I will go ahead and, we'll go ahead and submit the permits now. And then I'll go ahead and send that over. We're not gonna get to that point in 4 weeks, so we can go ahead and approve it then, but
I think
This was just to get
that,
the
will they
ball
not
rolling.
review the permit until design review has given?
So, Chair, just so the motion did pass, so the approval is on the table.
Okay.
The plans can be submitted. The first red line correction would be add
They would
header
add
brow.
those things in. Okay,
perfect.
okay.
That's good.
Thank you so much.
Okay, good luck. Okay, next up, a discussion possible action to approve a patio conversion at 410 East Sagebrush.
Thank you, Chair. This is item 5E, patio conversion. The applicant is John Welsh. Hi. Your name? Nicole Welsh?
Yeah.
Thank you. Nicole Welsh is representing John Welsh, the applicant this evening. The address is 410 East Sagebrush Street. The request is to build an addition onto the home at a location that's currently used as an outdoor patio. The zoning is R18, and this would replace an outdoor patio space with an addition onto the primary home. It is located behind an existing carport. Here's a street view image of it. It is very hard for me to describe it to you as the truck is in the way, but essentially there's a low wall right there that goes across to the column there. That low wall would be removed and replaced with the addition, which is already under roofed as part of that lot right there. The front of the facade of the home is block. It'll be used, the addition is proposed in siding that matches the sides of the house. I guess that's why they call it siding. Here's a depiction of, again, what's the street view and what that addition is essentially entailing. It is filling in, again, an area that is currently used as a patio space with this addition. And once more, the proposed depictions of how that'll look.
So, siding opposite direction as the rest of the house?
Chair, if it's okay, I'll finish the presentation, then we'll take questions from the.
Okay,
As far as our analysis goes, this proposed improvements are consistent with the existing architecture, pending that discussion. This proposed meets the intents of section 39 of the zoning code as far as what we're trying to accomplish here as far as matching colors, materials. We'll see about the siding correction. We have not received any public comments on this proposal. So our request for you is to approve the proposed patio conversion PZ 2532. Located at 410 East Sagebrush Street, subject to the exhibits provided by the applicant, and one stipulation, building permit issued by the city will be required before any construction is to occur. I am here to answer any questions, and the applicant can address the question you have asked already.
okay, great, thank you. Just give your name and address for the record. then.
Nicole Welch, my husband submitted and worked with him, so I'm last minute filling in. He was supposed to be here, but he got stuck at work, so. We are just gonna match the existing,
Or just in the
Is that what you
picture
got?
depiction, it looked like it was
I'm not
horizontal and the
sure
other one
honestly
was
why it was
vertical.
drawn sideways. I think initially the idea was to do like a oak kind of side shiplap look to it, but we just like the aesthetic of the house, so we're gonna just match the existing.
Okay, okay, that was it. Yeah, when I was looking at it earlier, I was like, I got confused whether it was gonna be block or, so, but I think it'll look fine if you're staying with the same pattern as what's already on the house.
Can we see the picture again? Like the, like with
Photo.
the truck in it? Yeah, the photo, thank you.
So the carport's gonna stay, right? That's,
Yeah, the
and so
carport's
this is
staying.
back
You
behind
can
all
kind of
that.
see like the wall
Yeah,
right there.
but so that's all block and then, but what, at the house, it's the shiplap. And you're just you're gonna extend that basically.
Yeah, I think
I think-
they matched this side, is why they drew it sideways, so it does kind of. like
That side is block though, right? That's,
That side
that's
is,
masonry
yeah.
block facing the front,
I
so.
think that was why it was drawn up like that, when we
Okay.
said match the existing, yeah. Yeah, the issue we're having is we have like an outdoor space there, but with the pony wall, we have like a lot of neighbors that just come into our backyard essentially, because it's really open, and so we'll still have a little side where you see the fence right there, where we can walk through and have like a little garden right there, but we're just gonna close in and use some of that space behind the carport.
So it kind of, am I looking at the drawings right? It looks like there's an opening though. Are you adding like an opening in the wall or? Maybe this is the wrong, this is the right. This is
Board
right.
Member Dudley, you're talking about the existing or proposed?
Oh, maybe, so I'm looking at the right elevation, but maybe that's the house then. I think I might just be confused about what I'm looking at.
Board Member Dudley, they are proposing a door to enter from the
Okay.
carport as well as one to go lead to the backyard.
Oh, and will it look like a front door or the same, or what's the?
It won't match our yellow front door, but it will match like similar to our carport door, which you can't see in this picture, but we're trying to keep it as similar to the existing look of the house. So all of our windows and doors have like a kind of like a dark blue trim around them. Yeah, we're not gonna do a yellow door, but it will look similar to the other doors.
Okay.
Our neighbor next door was born and raised in her house, and she puts a lot of input into what we do to our house, so she has approved it, if that matters. Her name is Lori, I'm sure you will know her. No, we have neighbors come all the time and talk about the house and what has been done over the years, so we are very mindful of what our neighbors think.
Any other questions for staff or applicant? Motion?
So do you want to stipulate that the shiplap maintain the same direction?
Yeah, I would prefer that it kind of matches the existing house. I think it might look a little
we kind of want to just transition
Yeah,
cohesively.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'll make a motion to approve the package, with the, staff stipulations and then the stipulation we just talked about,
The siding match existing.
It's essentially like vertical, right?
Yeah.
Instead of
Well, I think-
horizontal.
think,
Or you're just talking about.
whichever one is existing, please do that. If it's horizontal, like continue the horizontal.
Yeah,
And I'll be glad to second that.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
thank you. We are gonna head out.
Yeah.
They did great.
It
They
did really
great.
good. Okay. Good with these, I have Apple stuff, so like, this is like really annoying. Everything I own is Apple stuff, so. Okay. The next up. The Alfrea Academy and Performing Arts Center.
Chair, members of the board, good evening. This is item 5F. 5F and 5G are both located at La Loma Homestead. Because these items are zoned agritourism or agritainment, they are your body as recommendation and city council as approval. So Councilmember Brainerd Watson will be recused from the next two items as she'll see these presentations again in 2 weeks. So a little infill project, the Agua Fria Union High School District Academy and Performing Arts Center. The address is 5356 North Litchfield Road. It is at Rancho La Loma Homestead, the dedication from the Denny family. It is a school campus for approximately 400 students, along with a 700-seat theater. A little bit about the site, and I included significant information within the write-up for you this evening, the staff report packet. This is a specialized high school. There are no sports fields. I think they were still debating on if there's even a mascot for the school, as there are no teams. Anyways, the whole.
Yeah, mascots.
Okay, sorry. I wasn't sure if that was official. Okay, on the record, the Hilltop
it.
School for the Performing Arts, home of the Peacocks. This is at the southeast corner of the homestead. This was previously identified for commercial use. I talked about this a bit in our public input charrette meeting back in January with members of the public, knowing that the high school, the library, the museum were all coming, and what will become of the rest of the site. What we think the most crucial part of the site, the actual hill, the Loma. That homestead and the grounds they kept, the outdoor pool, the tank, the bandstand, the terraces, none of that is affected by this proposal or the next proposal. We were very cognizant in the fact that this area was identified as a commercial center. And Wally had written several letters throughout 2004, explaining, or in 2003, excuse me, explaining his disdain of the idea. This campus is almost verbatim exactly where that commercial center was and now represents the historical, social, and cultural uses that were intended. This is a depiction of the site. This is version 16 Amendment G, I think is a fair way to say that. We went round and round. We have been working with ADM and with Agua Fria Union High School District since July of last year. This represents our absolute best intentions, all things considered, and their mission, our mission, how this is all going to work. You'll note a roundabout is proposed at Brenton, which is the current entrance into Sunset Terrace, again, named for Sunset Terrace over here. That will be the new main entry for all things on the hill. There is a separate bus lane here, and there will be a left turn in for about 5 to 6 buses. Those buses will collect students from all around the district boundaries to bring them here. Again, this is specialized performing arts high school, dance, theater, music, band, production, drama, all of those sorts of things without any of the filling of all the sports teams. The academy itself is on the east end of the site. There are three main buildings. This one is bisected on the ground floor with the outdoor breezeway that takes you to the bus lane. Second floor is the full envelope that you see here represented that's cut. Buildings B and C are located here as well. The visitor parking and some of the staff parking is here at the north end of the site. The bulk of the parking is as much as we could fit in a reasonable area here at the south end of the site. You'll know that there is a hill here and there are significant grade challenges, but we think we've met the grade and we're hoping for straight A's. That is not the end of my puns, I swear. And we have created a line of delineation, let's call it. This area in the dark gray is a two-step terraced retaining wall. At its highest point, it is about 20 feet in height at this point here. As you travel around that terrace, you'll drop down to a single wall at about 10 feet in height. They have provided a stairwell here along that original La Loma alignment. If you are at City Hall and you're on the west side of City Hall and you look straight north, to this bisecting area and straight up to the bandstand. It's no accident that it was all designed accordingly. There's another stairwell that's being proposed at the end of their lease area here. I say lease area because ultimately we are not able to sell this land through the gifting documents. This will remain in control of Litchfield Park as far as the underlying land. This is also what granted us the mechanism for having this discussion for you this evening. In all other situations, a school district is exempt from local zoning control and owns the land and can do what they feel best for their site and look, the feel, the character, the chain link fences, the other things that just will not be appropriate here and are not included here. The PAC building is located here as well. This is the most grandiose of all, the tallest of all. The main entry is right here. This is envisioned as a pickup drop-off, almost the valet situation. The other thing to note as part of the joint development agreement and ground lease is that the PAC and school do not operate simultaneously. We have put as little parking as we can here intentionally. We do not want to scar any further amount of the hill that we don't have to. So the parking is appropriate for theater event, which is the highest use at 700 seats. There is a restaurant that is included within the PAC. The upper floor is the Peacock Lounge, still a working name? Not the working name anymore? I apologize. Stricken from the record, the Peacock Lounge is no longer the name to be determined later. The other thing that is included here and is specific and intentional is the wall is so vast and we did not want to cut any more than we had to because it is about an 8-foot difference between the foundation of this home and the back of that wall as far as where they have to cut back to build the wall. There's only one sidewalk that bisects the middle of this parking field. It is the intention that you park and you are almost shepherded down the center sidewalk through the crosswalk and onto the site. We didn't want anyone crossing. We did not want any parents telling their kids to jump out and get on the sidewalk and cut the line. It is intentional that those cars will take this entirety of this parking lot. You'll note there's no cut in the middle either to make a shorter horseshoe and a U-turn, as it were. They take that full length, which gives us the maximum amount of queuing to store cars here. It will not be backed up onto Litchfield Road. The other thing is that this roundabout is intentional, so there is no traffic signal, there is no wait, there is no delay, there is no platoon of cars waiting to come on campus. They will free flow onto site. There is no stop sign here. This is a free movement. The stop signs are located at north and south so that cars can flush in and out of the site as quickly as possible. This is probably more engineering than you're accustomed to for a design review board, but I want to further solidify our intentions and where we got to and how we got there. As far as some flat renderings, not in your packet tonight are the 3D renderings. They are part of this presentation. This presentation will be posted online for all to see. They're just very large files. This is a flat elevation of the front facade of the main entry building that you'll see. The main entry and office and administration is located here, just off of that valet drop-off that little traffic circle, as it were, here. The building and the massing continue to the west towards Litchfield Road. There's an exterior stairwell here that is going from, I think, the science lab, last I looked at it. That'll be part of the egress movements for kids dismissing. There's also another main entry exit, or main exit, I should say, not main entry. I guess it's both. Here, that's connecting the breezeway between the buildings B and C and A to the south. As far as the pack goes, you'll note, rightfully so, and you'll see this again in the library, the windows are not facing south, windows are not facing west. They're facing north, they're facing the view, they're facing the hill, they're facing the homestead, the cottages. There will be certainly a wall in front of you. There's no doubt about that, but as you look up, you'll look up towards the cottages and have that sight lines up. The primary entry is the northeast. Out of all of the Solar Gain locations, this is the most ideal. That lobby is big enough for events on its own, even without the theater and its seating. This will be hopping. They're working with Danny Zalisco, thank you. This event, this Performing Arts Center is used approximately 10 to 20 times a year with the school. The city will use it less than 10 times a year. Every other day possible will be used for public events, similar to some other situations. Queen Creek has one, Surprise has one, that's sort of this joint public-private big theater, real big theater, you could say. And the power draws that are making APS quite nervous, actually. We're trying to figure it all out. The performances will use that bus lane as well. That loading zone is located here, it's tucked in. Their scene shop for the productions is here, and they'll wheel those scenes right over here to the theater. It's all been very carefully considered. Trash enclosures are back here as well. You have no idea about the backstage and the maintenance and the groundskeeping and all that sort of stuff. It is completely hidden to the extent possible. As far as the pretty pictures go, we're going to go out to in. So if you were standing on a roof in Sunset Terrace and you held a big stick and you were standing on that stick, this is what you'd be looking at. You were looking southwest. You'll note the retaining wall here, and we'll get into more details as we progress. And the sight lines are splendid, quite frankly. As you're traveling southbound, you see straight into this campus. You see straight to the cottages. If you've driven down Litchfield Road, you'd note we have a very big excavator toy that we've been playing with in removing dead vegetation, and people are noticing the cottages for the first time, quite frankly. We'll hop in a little closer. That main entry, again, as you can see, the library is off screen. We'll get to that in the next presentation. The stairwell up to the cottages is here. That terrace wall wraps around the site. You have, again, just tremendous sight lines into the site. Coming a little closer, this is that main valet drop-off, that main entry feature. It's all been designated accordingly, thankfully on the north side of the site. And again, this almost California-esque, Santa Barbara-esque retaining walls. We worked very closely with them to include as many vines as possible, as many hedges as possible. Our goal is within a few years to hide the wall to the extent possible. Can't get rid of the wall because there is, again, such significant grade changes, but it hopefully is a green wall sooner than later. This is a look as if you were parking, walking to the theater itself. Ignore the name on the building. There's a exterior courtyard that takes you up these stairwells. And again, that restaurant is up here in the north, or I'm sorry, the upper portion of the Performing Arts Theater. Those that come here for events will travel across this crosswalk and be guided around to the other side of the building. On exiting, exits are much closer and much more convenient to flush cars out of the site. This is a look from Litchfield Road, looking west, northwest. Again, you can see those buses all lined up. There's arcade feature as well. This is certainly a big building and a lot of massing where there were opportunities to reduce that massing, to add character and details. They are throughout the site as well. Even in areas that are less frequented, less shown, we've been sure to include that. The other thing we'll note is that the highest portion of the fly of the theater where all the booms and scenes raise up, There is not air conditioning equipment on that highest point. Those were put at the lower terraces, both front and rear, disguised even further here on the south end. There's a few on the north end as well. A lot of mechanical equipment. As far as our analysis goes, this investment by the school district, and I say this and I will continue to say this, is the catalyst we were looking for. Our La Loma Planning Committee met in 2003. Wally Denny was part of those committee meetings, and we didn't move forward 22 years ago. So we're very thankful for the school district. We're very thankful, and I'll reiterate, the library and Supervisor Clint Hickman for his investment in the library. The museum has finally signed all of its lease documents. They have a timeline that matches the school's timeline, that matches the library's timeline, that matches the park's timeline, and I start my vacation in September of 26. Not until then. As far as the zoning code, this does meet all of our intentions and the original vision of that La Loma Planning Committee and that La Loma Master Plan that was accepted by City Council back in 2003. Our recommendation is to recommend approval to City Council to advance it to their discretion for the proposed Agua Fria Union High School District campus. PZ 2506 is located at 5356 North Litchfield Road, subject to the exhibits provided by the applicant and stipulations 1 through 7. I will read them for you. Whoever is making the motion can just simply restate subject to stipulations 1 through 7 as stated. 1, substantial conformance to the submitted plans is required. This is something I don't include in all of these, but this is one that we are absolutely going to guarantee. As these plans progress, and they're very close to being very real and in front of us as far as the construction documents, on occasion, cost escalations will change things. They call it value engineering, but really it's value architecture. I don't know, it's a bit of a misnomer. If there is anything that is deemed significant, that would be anything above a 10% alteration. It will come back before you, and the project would be delayed. We're very intentional in this inclusion, and I'll just keep reading. A substantial conformance to the submitted plans is required. Any alteration deemed major will require a new review, recommendation by design review board, and approval by City Council. 2, a building permit issued by the city will be required before any vertical construction is to occur. 3, all outstanding red line comments will be addressed during civil and building plan review. I will explain that. There are some things that are still in a bit of flux. This is a very complicated site. There may be something that's shown as brown that may be light brown in the future. So anything that is still being further vetted, we will look at and address during civil and building plans. That could be a 6-inch curve is now an 8-inch curve, just to give examples. 4, the following plans will be required during the civil permit review to be submitted after the site plan approval, which we're expecting. Final grading and drainage plans, final drainage report, SWIP, which is make sure you don't have any pollutants going into the storm drain, grading, drainage, utilities and paving plans, fire, waste, vehicle mobility route templates, landscape and irrigation aesthetics plans and specs as far as any sort of site furnishings. 5, civil and building plans may be reviewed concurrently and approved, but cannot be released for permitting until Liberty Utilities and the Goodyear Fire Department have also approved the project. Goodyear has given their approval of these conceptual plans and is working through all final designs, and everything being shown is in accordance with Goodyear Fire. 6, conceptual signage is not reviewed as part of the application. Separate comprehensive sign program submittal is required. We anticipate joining our efforts across all of these amenities into a comprehensive package. 7, applicant will meet all required stipulation and conditions of the joint development agreement and ground lease that was signed and executed in December by City Council. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Our friends at ADM are here as well. I've included the same language from both sides. So if anyone would like to make the motion, the language is there at the top and can be restated again as stipulations 1 through 7 as stated. Thank you.
A lot. It took me most of the day to go through, look at everything. I did have a question. I mean, as a school, I think when the Litchfield Elementary was totally remodeled, I think we were told as a design review board that we were just being presented as a courtesy because we had really no say over what they did. Is this true in this case?
Chair, it is not true in this case. Because we are the underlying landowner, as part of that joint development agreement and ground lease, it was very specific that I and you would be included in this process. I apologize to ADM almost every time I see them because they just do schools and they're not used to me. They're not used to you. So we are very thankful that through the negotiations with Ava Fria from the jump in July, we've been very cognizant and pushed back a lot. We haven't been invited back to the ADM offices since that meeting. I don't know if that has something to do with this, but this is a significant evolution of where we started.
It looks like it's gonna be a quality project. And,
Can I just, the collective noun for peacocks or group of peacocks is either ostentatious or ostentation, excuse me, or pride or a. There's the third one.
I love that Mrs. Denny used to have peacocks all over. the
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. that's
And
a
so-
really good idea.
Yeah, oh, it's a mustard. So maybe one of those could be played upon for your name or for the name for the.
Yeah, I have it on the state guide.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Alright. Would anyone like to propose a motion if you have other questions? No.
I'll make a motion. Anybody else? I move that we recommend to approve to the city council package PZ 2506, subject to the stipulations 1 through 7 as stated. That's it. Move to approve.
We have a motion, I guess I can second. Is Bob, you here, you can second?
I'm here. I will second.
Okay, thank you. Bob will second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank
Abstain.
you.
Thank you.
One abstention. Okay. Yes, the next stuff is the library.
You want to say what? Okay. Item 5G is a new branch library. The applicant is Maricopa County Library District. Lena's here. Hi, Lena. She had to travel very far, one room to the other. I don't know if you were here today. Okay. Okay. The owner is us. The address is 5390 North Litchfield Road. The request this evening is to build a 10,000 square foot branch library at the Rancho La Loma homestead. The zoning is agritourism. The request would construct a new 10,000 square foot Maricopa County Maricopa County Library District MCLD branch library along Litchfield Road, north of the Olive Free campus, off that same entry point on Brinton. Here's a depiction of the site plan. This is also version 5, I think. It's less versions, I'd say. The library has always been intended along the roadway. I put up a good fight as far as please don't face the front door west. I don't want to burn my hand opening that front door. What is included with this proposal is a very large arcade that is along the entire frontage of that site. The other thing we were very cognizant of with MCLD is windows tend to ruin media. And we have reduced windows. You won't hear me say this again. We have lessened fenestration. We've made windows smaller, quite frankly, because we do not want to make this investment and lose the investment. The other big thing about this site, I'll note, is you will see a similar outdoor space. While we don't anticipate the county to necessarily program the space, it is available should there be a reptile show or something else that is cognizant as part of this. This same feature is mimicked in the school in their main valet drop-off as far as the circular element, pavers, the palms, and not to spoil things, but in a future meeting when we present the park has a similar element as well that ties and unifies all of these developments together. The other thing about this site is we are including golf cart stalls. The Litchfield Road improvements, including the roundabout, will include an underpass. There are not pedestrian facilities on the west side of Litchfield Road. They're on the east side. We are very cognizant, and we, the city, not the school district or the county, insisted upon making that investment and doing that underpass as part of this proposal and part of this timing so that people can freely get from one end to the other. Now, on site, there aren't anticipated to be a pathway system. I want to clarify that. So very similar to Litchfield Square, take the pathway to the site, but once on site, utilize the roads essentially to get there. And so we've provided 18, give or take, stalls for golf carts that can be used for the theater, the park, the museum, the library as central as possible sort of location for this. The other thing that solves our problem, solves the school's problems or opportunities, you could say, is a fire lane. This is not going to be paved. It's not going to be ever used, but it's there just in case. This will be a mountable curb along Litchfield Road, a mountable curb within the parking lot. It will be barren because it has to be. I can't put a tree in the middle of the fire truck lane, but it will be disguised and incorporated as best as possible with the existing vegetation in the surrounding area. ADA stalls are located along the front, and then the other part of this is the book drop. Every city uses that same book drop. You can think of it silver. It says book drop on the side. I actually called the manufacturer. I don't think I told you this story. I called the manufacturer and I said, I'm running into a situation that people like to put their hand out their driver's window and put the book. At many libraries, it's against the front of the building, which means the car is facing opposite direction of travel as everyone else. And I did not want to create the situation. The alternative and what the library pages have to go do is sometimes it's in an island, like at the White Tanks. And therefore the page has to take the cart, stand in the middle of traffic and unload it in the middle of a parking lot. I thought we could do better. And I called the manufacturer and I said, has anyone ever asked you this? She said, no. I said, there has to be a better way. So what we did is we made this a one-way drive aisle. So as you enter the site, these are all two-way drive aisles, but if you want to drop your book, right here starts a one-way drive aisle, and this knuckle will have the book drop, which means the page can take the sidewalks, go get the books, not in traffic. There's no cross traffic or opposite direction travel here either. There will be maybe a slight delay if someone's backing their golf cart into that spot, but this is designated strictly as the book drop and then back out to the main entry. The other thing that this does help create is less conflicts so close to the roundabout and so close to that stop sign by being egress movement only. Here's a look at the site plan. West would be up, Litchfield Road would be at the bottom. We have asked them, and they have been so kind, to put the fire riser room, mechanical room at the north end along that fire lane. I was very cognizant and very adaptable, cohesive. We had discussions, let's just say it like that, that along that main entry on Brenton Avenue, on the street side, I didn't want to see any of that nonsense. Quite frankly, just to be a little, it's late in the evening and I'm getting a little bit more loose in the conversation. So that fire riser room, that metal door and that big red sign is not going to be seen from the road. It's not going to be seen from the campus. It's going to be on the north side. It's going to be along that fire lane. The south side is that program space. And it's no accident that the program space and that outdoor amenity are right next to each other as well. Bathrooms are also located on that south side, includes men's, women's, and family, as well as a janitorial closet. The kids area is as close to the bathrooms as possible. We were very cognizant of how those sorts of things work. The adults are in the center and the main portion of the site, as well as some sitting and study areas. The teen space is located in their own space, a quiet space with doors located here. I believe these are periodicals, but someone can correct me if I'm wrong as far as maybe not periodicals. There are also 2 study rooms here as well that can be used, as well as additional furniture. And this is the demarcation as far as public versus staff space. Staff space is all included within open offices, the break space, the bathroom space, the receiving space, as well as the storage space. The circulation desk is here. A lot of libraries you may see nowadays, including this one we're sitting in today, have troubles with sight lines. This is intentional as far as its location so they can see into the teen space, the kids' space and as much into the adult space as possible. Certainly, stacks of books do get in the way, but how those sightlines work into the most crucial areas as far as our youth are well maintained and well done. And again, you can see the columns for that arcade to ensure you don't burn your hand when you open this door. Here's a look. I don't have as many pretty pictures, unfortunately, of this one. It is almost a copy paste of the school, and that's intentional as well. The main entry you'll see here, we have as many windows as makes sense, and we removed windows where it didn't make sense, not to damage materials. The main entry doors, the space to the program room, the space to the staff receiving area are all windowed. You'll note, the arcade, the tower feature as well, and that arcade running along the entirety of that stretch. On the street side, I have one door that I couldn't get rid of. It's an emergency door. It's unfortunate, but it's there. But otherwise, windows, to the extent possible that makes sense. Again, originally these were floor to ceiling. There was concerns about damage. There was concerns about how to program that space. We are very fortunate in this gift, and it's coming up in the next conversation, but I'll say that for the next slide. Here's a rendering of what that site would look like. My RAV4 is here, someone's Hyundai is here, and the Mustang is not one. This is that main entry, that main look into the site. Again, our Santa Barbara, our classic feel, to the extent we could spend every last dollar of that gift. Here's a look at some of the interior finishes and colors. Can't see it, can barely see it, but certainly that white versus the white of the background is intentional, obviously, for our Santa Barbara field. These accent colors are accents. These are not color blocks. These are not large areas of in-your-face color by any means. We had a lively discussion, I'd say, for a couple of hours looking at interior finishes. I think that's the fairest way to say that. This is an evolution of that. The Spanish tiles are included as accents, used within the water bathrooms. The water fountain features, the wood beams, the cabinets are all now in that darker hue. Originally, they were in a different tone that was more contemporary. Again, does not match our intent and our classic feel. As far as this analysis goes, we have two people to really thank for the push in getting this across to your desks this evening. Originally, it was Max Wilson. He was pretty close in 2004 to getting this across the finish line. There was a letter that was written by a law firm that represented Sun Health, that represented the Denny family, that talked about their excitement, the Denny's family excitement for this going in. I know there's been a lot of hearsay or rumors, but I have the letter, I have a signed letter with Wally copied, that they were very excited about this being incorporated with Rancho La Loma. Clint Hickman then succeeded, and in both ways, succeeded Max Wilson and succeeded in this effort. He has provided $5 million in funds. This was done before his term ended at end of last year towards this library. And again, we are using every single one of those pennies towards this effort. So along with the Agua Fria campus, PW Litchfield Heritage Center, which is the museum, this library represents a crucial piece of the historical, social, and cultural uses always intended for study. With that, we would move to recommend approval to City Council for the proposed Maricopa County Library branch at PZ 2531, located at 5390 North Litchfield Road, subject to the exhibits provided in the applicant. You'll note there are no stipulations on this. This was a simpler process because ultimately the city is taking this forward upon the county district's behalf. I'll be happy to answer any questions and drink some water.
Okay. Any questions for the staff? Ed, I think I was wondering about the amount of natural daylight, if there, what your assessment is of the availability of natural daylight
So,
in the facility, yeah.
Chair, where it makes sense, we have it. Where it didn't make sense or possibly
That's why
damage,
orienting it with a long face, west and east, it makes it harder, yeah.
I guess I wonder if you considered maybe like a light well or a light monitor at all, because I agree with you that that's why I feel like for a library, natural light it's like very important. That it's not just like a lot of fluorescent, so I had the same thought as you, and I wondered if you considered any of those kind of alternatives. Because I definitely understand the solar gain issue, like that's
Yes.
valid, of course, but
Chair, board member, the unfortunate real life scenario is the libraries with more windows have had more lost media.
Mhm.
Before, I think, can we talk about Northwest Regional before Surprise took it as an example? Asante, thank you, that one as well. So there were two libraries, and they're still there today, in the city of Surprise. Before the city of Surprise created its own library department, the county ran those facilities. That's where I got my library card. And they have large windows. There's one off on 163rd Avenue in Grand in the Asante community that is floor to ceiling windows.
Mhm.
And the amount of ongoing damage is causing significant replacements of their equipment and their media. The similar situation occurred at their other location at Bullard and Greenway Road, technically Paradise Lane, where they have large windows again facing south, facing the lake, where same thing has occurred. The other thing that the floor to ceiling windows creates is an inability to program the space.
Mhm.
So these windows start at chair height, table height, and therefore let light in. And certainly we have a large amount of windows on the east. So as the day progresses, those are wide open and don't have the issue of the sun hitting them. Most libraries are either 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. start. So we wouldn't anticipate a lot of direct light in the mornings hitting those. So as the day progresses, those windows can be fully utilized without concern. It is shaded intentionally on the west side. And again, the north side is somewhat limited being the staff space. The south side is somewhat limited being the bathrooms and program space. So where possible in the main area, we have certainly done as much as possible, but not at the expense of the library district and their mission.
So in those scenarios that you're talking about, it's because of direct light, right?
I would let Lena go to the lectern and speak more eloquently than I can about her equipment.
Step from sitting. Direct light is a problem for the collection. So unless there is, like at White Tank, it's surrounded by windows. It is. But they've been treated. There was a lot of money poured into White Tank to ensure that the collection is protected. We don't put the collection as close to the windows, really anywhere, even if you go to like a Georgia Lord. You have furniture, and that's where people tend to want to gravitate anyway when they're sitting and enjoying the space. They're sitting, towards the windows anyway. But a 10,000 square foot building isn't like, it's not 10,000 for the public, as you can see, because you have to have room for seating and the shelving and program space and the back space, and really wanted a sorter. We really wanted study rooms, all of those things. And so the collection size is really not much bigger than what is currently here to get in all those other features. But back to the question of, yes, the direct sunlight. We also don't want it to be a big hot box either for customers coming in with, all of the windows. But the really hot sun is on the west side towards the end of the day. And that's really where our customer service desk is going to be, the sorter room, the programming space, that kind of thing. So I'm definitely less concerned about, issues with the collection, just based on how it's faced. Yeah. I just wanted to kind of add, when people walk into.
Can you stay at the microphone,
Sorry.
just for the record?
I just want to make sure that everybody realizes that there are windows all the way along. And so when people walk in, they're going to see that kind of back wall. They will see natural light coming into the space. So it won't feel like you're walking into a cave or something like that. There will be natural light kind of coming in all along that whole kind of back road. So I
They're
think
just
it'll
not-
still- yeah, they're not huge, but there will still be natural light coming into this space.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand the concerns, I guess, I just also think that there are ways, you know, with the roof to have diffuse light coming in, like, so you still have, and so I'm just curious, like, if any of those avenues were explored, or was this roof line not conducive to that, or?
Board Member Dudley. To that extent, I don't believe anyone from the city's team or the ADM team, the architecture team, had studied that enough to give a good answer to your question. The break room has some clear story windows there at the north end, which would be the right-hand side of the screen as well, just to let light there, because you are somewhat limited again, because of the fire rising mechanical room, and the drop room, the storage room, and then the bathrooms. So where there was an opportunity for them as well, we want to make sure that there was natural light for staff as well. We, I believe, and you may have to help me here off the record, I believe the original intention from Supervisor Max Wilson was also $5 million in 2004.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Just for the record. So having that same gift 20 years later and stretching $5 million 20 years later has been tricky. It's been very tricky, and we've attempted to balance our intentions, our architectural interest in the building, as well as the library's mission as far as how that all works, and we're real close.
I mean, we love it when you can do the orientation where you can get natural light without the direct sunlight is best, but you don't have that many opportunities here.
Just, I think, I mean, it doesn't matter anyway, but I mean, you could use like a light monitor where like it's hitting a wall and coming in, so like it's never really direct, and then the heat wants to go up anyway, so I don't, anyway, I just asked the question, but I agree, I think it's a lovely proposal, so.
Board Member Dudley, it's intentional that we are at 95% plans, and we are at 95% plans because of the conversations tonight, because of the conversations in 2 weeks at City Council. If there are things that come up that we can address, we can certainly explore how those things can be incorporated, if it's possible to be incorporated, and take this feedback before we get to 100% plans.
Great.
I think we were just both that, I'm a longtime avid reader, and it's just like the environment where you sit down and read, I think is nice not to have all artificial.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, just thought I'd bring that up since I think when it first started, the orientation was 90 degrees the other way, so I think that's part of the ramifications of changing that. Anyway. Any other comments, questions for staff? No, I don't. Bob, you have any questions?
I'll make one comment. I'm very impressed with what Randy has done as far as being involved with this overall master planning and attention detail that, like he said, most of the time at a planning and zoning meeting, you know, you get a little bit of it, and design review board, not as much. But this is, you know, all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, and the only thing now they have to wait for is if somebody out of the blind comes up with something. But I'm very impressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. You want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we recommend approval to the city council for a proposed branch library file number PZ 2531. With no stipulations, I guess.
Correct.
I'll second that motion. And then any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay. Agenda, I think we have only staff report on current event.
Chair, I'd like to say that now that this is all done, we can take a vacation, but I will see you again next month with the next Litchfield Square project. I can't make this up. Lots 13 and lot 14 are going to come before you at a preliminary look. We think how we handled it with the Rudolpho project as far as you seeing it early, giving feedback, and then again, presenting to you as a final design was very helpful for us, very helpful for the applicant. So again, lots 13, lot 14, which is a proposed 3-story ground floor retail restaurants, second and third floor lofted condos, 20 units, and associated garages surrounding City Hall. We will show you that in June. The other item that will come up in June, just to put a bug in your ear, is the July meeting falls on July 3rd. Whether or not you will all want to meet is up to you. I'll put that as an item for consideration, whether or not you'd like to cancel the July 3rd meeting as part of next month's meeting. Other than that, we are very thankful, as previously stated, for all the residents that continue to invest in their homes. We are just about caught up with cases, so it could be possible that next month is just Litchfield Square, but I would not hold breath because we do get cases every week. And that is all I have for my update. Thank you.
I think usually this summer we kind of see what comes up and if there's enough to pull us in. And it's always possible to do it by Zoom if we need to, if people are on their vacation or whatever. So, any board members, current events? A motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thanks, Bob.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a good day or evening. Bye.